Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Jeff Shaw, and I'm the Executive Director for the Life Insurers Council, which is a council of Loma that provides networking and resources, especially for small to medium-sized life insurance companies. And our mission is to help member companies improve performance through shared excellence. Today we're presenting 21st Century Workforce, Keys to Attracting and Training Qualified but Inexperienced Employees by Alexis Daniel, IT Project Manager at Armed Forces Benefit Association. So I'd like you all to think about the last time you hired someone and think about all the challenges you had in finding the right person and getting them up to speed. And now imagine how much more difficult it's going to be when you consider that many of the jobs we're looking at today may not exist in 10 years, or at the very least are going to require very different skills in the future. Many of today's best hires will rely more on having an attitude of lifelong learning and an openness to change than on prior experience. So Alexis is going to talk about a great model she has developed that will help you rethink your current practices and start planning for the workforce of the future.
Thank you, Jeff. Hello, everyone. My name is Alexis Daniel. I am the IT Operations Project Manager at AFBA. This presentation is just a collection of just my experiences and also just qualities that you would look for. If you look at the title is Keys to Successfully Attracting and Training Qualified but Inexperienced Employees. And you're probably wondering, how can you train a qualified but inexperienced employee? How can they be qualified and inexperienced at the same time? But this presentation is more about quality. It's about characteristics that you're looking for in employees that could help you build your team. So just to get started, the objective is to identify qualities in low experienced applicants that expose the potential investment, to identify low risk positions suitable for young or inexperienced staff, and extending the life of your workforce and understanding the importance of staff development. All right, so getting started, in search of the ultimate candidate, finding a diamond in the rough. Finding a diamond is not hard to do. There's tons of diamonds out there. You just got to know where to look. So, all right, invariably, the best hires are those that possess valuable expertise that doesn't yet exist in the organization. So, for the sake of the presentation, I want you guys to take the word expertise and change it to qualities or characteristics instead. Life is all about balance. It's about characteristics, it's about social balance. And the key to having a successful team is knowing exactly what qualities you need in balance with your team. So who are you looking for? You need to identify specifically what it is that you're looking for in an applicant. Think about your applicant's resume. I put here your job ad should be just as enticing and specific as your applicant's resume. That is so true. Applicants that are diamonds, the ones that you're looking for, they're looking for a job that is a diamond. So what qualities are you looking for in your applicant? Are you looking for a lively applicant, or someone who's open-minded, someone who's a little bit more focused or experienced? The best thing to do is to really think about those qualities, because it's all about your team balance. It's all about your team dynamic, and you're trying to attract those people that have those qualities. So I did this presentation with someone before, and they said, you know, if you put charismatic in the job description, I would not apply for it. And that's exactly what you want. You want to specifically search, almost like you're fishing. You want to search for exactly the qualities that you need in your team. You don't want someone who's lively just because everyone in your team is lively, or you don't want someone who's experienced just because everyone in your team is experienced. But I'm sorry, I just got a message in. But you want to really, analyze those qualities and how they would fit into your team. So think about what you're looking for in an applicant. The other thing you want to consider is your position. So is the position an entry-level position? Is the salary even negotiable? Or are the job requirements very specific? The thing about this is you really want to set your expectations throughout your interview process. You want to set your expectations when you post your ad. You want to attract the people that are actually going to take the position and not take the position and leave. So when you put in your ad, hey, this is an entry-level position for someone that that is ready. You know, it's a starter position, but it could take you far. You know, that's what you want to put in your ad. You don't want to put in there that you have a position that's an entry level and you're not willing to pay for that. So basically what I'm saying here, you guys, is, you know, is set your expectations, make it clear. All right, increasing your chances of finding the right person. The best place is to post your position based on the most valued requirement. So most times when you're looking for a job or you're posting a job, there's 3 requirements that you typically prioritize in your job ad, and that's either the certification or the degree or the skill set or experience. So with applicants that don't have a degree, if you're looking for a certification, look in places that certification is going to be the priority. So for instance, for me, I have a PMP. If you're looking for someone that has a PMP, then maybe post your job ad on PMI.org versus something like the Washington Post. The PMI.org, if you go to their job board, they have jobs specifically for project managers or people that have PMP certs. And that's where someone like me would go look for a job. So that's what you want to think of. Someone for a skill set, say I am a software developer, I have a specific skill set for Java or SQL or something like that. You may want to look on something like Stack Overflow, which is specific to applicants that are software developers. The thing about this is you could post your job on Indeed, or you can post your job on Craigslist, or you can post your job in the Washington Post, but you're trying to find applicants that have those specific skill sets. If you're looking for experience, look for candidates that clearly document, or look for candidates on sites that clearly document an applicant's job experience, or use a distinguished recruiting agency. For me, I think LinkedIn is a good place to start for this. LinkedIn, you can validate your colleagues' skill set or certifications or anything work-related or task-related. You could validate that on LinkedIn. Or if you use a distinguished recruiting agency, something specifically for customer service reps or specifically for IT, and not just a temp agency. All right, so just to have a little fun, how to successfully select the wrong candidate, a fun 3-step series. All right, the first step, require too much for low-paying positions. All right, so what happens when you list tons of requirement on your entry-level positions, it makes it really hard to, or not hard to apply, but it makes it really difficult for people to see past that and apply for them because they're intimidated by the list of requirements. So you have an entry-level position and you list that you require a bachelor's degree and you require 10 years of experience or whatever it is, but you have to understand that sometimes if you pull back on the skill sets and just look more for qualities, you can build staff and you can build on the skill sets and you can build on education, but you really need to focus on finding someone that will be perfect for that entry-level position that has the right qualities. All right, search for candidates in the wrong places. This is going back to where are you going to put your ad? Are you going to post your job on Craigslist? Are you going to post your job on LinkedIn? Are you going to post your job on social media? If you're looking for someone who's a little bit more distinguished, maybe you want to go with a distinguished agency, or maybe you would want to look on LinkedIn. Or if you're looking for someone who's more youthful or someone who's looking for entry-level work or someone who's maybe got college experience, then, you know, look on college boards or look on social media. Just look in the right places. You wouldn't find maybe someone who's an intern looking on the Washington Post. So just be mindful of that. The next one is don't consider soft skills when creating requirements. This article at the bottom here is why I regretted hiring the perfect employee. Not considering your soft skills basically is saying that you're looking just for requirements on paper. You're not considering qualities or characteristics. So I may have a degree and I may have my 10 years of experience, but maybe I'm not narcissistic. Maybe I'm not open to change. maybe I'm not flexible, or maybe I just don't fit into your team. And what happens is you hire this person and it really kind of messes up your team dynamic. So you really want to consider the soft skills, whether this person is a people person or whether they're, more to themselves. Consider your team. All right. Summary, keys to successfully finding the wrong candidate. Add a long list of optional requirements to your requirements section. Post a generic job description. Forget to balance your skill set requirements with soft skill requirements. And require lots for a little bit of pay. All right, to find the right candidate, only list requirements that are absolutely necessary for the job. Personalize your posting by adding items about your team's dynamic and culture. And consider the soft skills. Document what type of person and qualities you're looking to add to your team and require what you're willing to pay for. All right, choosing an eager candidate. Everything you want in an applicant. The word is eager and it's capitalized because it's a little bit more meaning. What is an eager candidate? It's not just someone who's eager to do work, right? An eager candidate or eager qualities are characteristics that supplement the lack of experience or education in possible applicants. Most characteristics can be validated during an in-depth interview process. So what are these qualities that I keep talking about? I've said qualities maybe 50 times already. All right, energetic, ambitious, grounded, efficient, and resourceful. And when I say energetic, I mean energy into whatever task that they have at hand, or energy into the work, or whatever their goals are. Ambitious or resourceful, someone that's not going to complain, that's just going to use their resources to make it work. And that's what you're looking for. All right, validating eager qualities. So it's important to encourage your candidates to share during an interview process. All right, so the word share is capitalized. All right, what does share mean? To show hobbies and related experience. So maybe this person is young, maybe they don't have their degree. What can they show you to say, hey, I am energetic, I am ambitious, I am resourceful? What can they show you? Well, their certifications, projects, clubs, blogs, volunteer work, all of these things are examples of things that they can show you that proves to you that they have those eager qualities. For instance, if they're in IT, maybe they have their A+ or their Network Plus, and hey, maybe that will show you this will be a good person for the help desk, an entry-level 1 position, and they could grow with your company over time. So consider the qualities, encourage them to share. All right, spice up your job posting. Put some focus on soft skills and personal characteristics. Avoid a long list of requirements. Be selective where you choose to post your position. Choose an eager candidate, energetic, ambitious, grounded, efficient, and resourceful, and encourage applicants to share, show their hobbies and related experience, all throughout the interview process. All right, you found your candidate, right? Extending the life of your workforce. So what do I mean by extending the life of my workforce? So I mean hiring committed staff that's going to stay with your company maybe 20 plus years, ensuring staff want to work with you for 20 plus years. All right, so the education factor. Deciding if a degree should be required. All right, so there's 3 things to consider when deciding if you should list a degree as a requirement for your position. All right, is money in the budget? It may cost more money to hire someone that has a college degree. So if you know that the position is underpaid from the beginning, it's less likely that even if you do hire someone, that they will stick around with a low salary. So consider, hey, maybe, if money's not in the budget, maybe we shouldn't list degree as a requirement. Consider position history. Have other staff members without degrees successfully held the position? You may have had a project manager that had a master's degree, and they held that position perfectly fine, but maybe you didn't. And maybe they held the position fine as well. So consider whether that position can successfly be held without a degree. So look at the positions you have right now in your company. I can tell you right now that there's directors out there and there are managers out there that are successfully and fearlessly holding their positions without degrees. So consider that. Is experience a mandatory requirement? Can an applicant successfully function on the job without any experience at all? So, for instance, you have a position, it's a director position. You list it needs to have 20 plus years of experience and a master's degree. If that person didn't have the 20 plus years experience, would they be able to successfully hold the position? If they cannot, maybe you should consider just listing experience as the requirement and not the degree. You'll see on the next slide here, time and money management. Some people make the conscious decision not to go to college, and I think it's important for people to open up their minds to that. If you look at the chart on the right here, it's what you would have spent or what you would have gotten in return if you would have invested your money in Microsoft or Apple versus college. And I'm not discouraging anyone from going to college at all. But I want people to open their minds to seeing that, hey, maybe people are making the conscious decision to say, I will get experience first in college later. If you look at the chart to the left, it'll show you there was a study done by Chronicle where 50,000 employers participated. And one of the questions during the survey was, indicate the relative balance you would give to academic credentials versus experience for recent college graduates. So if you can look at this chart here, you'll see that experience and even neutrality is more important than academics. Not saying that academics is not important, but experience may just be a little bit more important when it comes to finding a job in the workforce. All right, utilizing internships and part-time students. If you guys look here, the relative importance of attributes in evaluating graduates for hire. This is actually the same study, the Chronicle study. The top two attributes that are most important are internships and employment during college, which to me equals experience. People are looking for experience. So even in college graduates, you're looking for experience. You're looking for hard data saying that, hey, this person is a hard worker. All right. Utilizing internships and part-time students continued. So 3 ways that I would say maybe the best ways to utilize internships and part-time students: excess work or busy work, project work, and entry-level tasks. For excess work or busy work, reducing the workload on other skilled staff members is important, and it's very helpful. There's a higher chance that if you're choosing an eager candidate or a candidate that has those qualities that we're looking for, that they'll make that task more efficient. They'll probably find new ways to make it electronic or faster or whatever, because they're coming from a different background. I would avoid assigning interns to confidential or highly important tasks because that would be a little risky. For project work, it just overall provides your team with more project resources. The intern may also prompt others to consider new ways of thinking and bring new ideas related to project tasks. And that's just because they're coming from an objective point of view. They're coming from just not being involved with these things, so they're seeing it from a different perspective. Avoid assigning interns to more technical or risky projects. Entry-level tasks to be made more efficient. And the reason why I like this one is because this has happened with us as well. Is you get someone in as an intern that's entry level, and they actually stay with you after college. They actually just stay on board. So that could also be a benefit to your company. All right, so the synopsis is employers should be open to listing a 4-year degree as a bonus to the application and not a requirement under most cases. Very important to say under most cases. When selecting recent graduates, most companies would prioritize applicants who participated in internships or part-time college work. What that means is they prioritize applicants who have experience. All right, so save money on your annual salary because it costs less to hire someone that doesn't have a degree. Gain diversity and fresh perspectives, and inject your workforce with experience and knowledge. Mostly because if you're hiring someone that doesn't have a degree and they have tons of experience, they probably have so much knowledge that they can bring to your team. So that's something to consider as well. All right, the millennial factor. Understanding who you're dealing with. By the way, guys, I am a millennial, so I will be offended if you guys are snickering. The millennial era. So the millennial era, the 1980s to 2000, who are the millennials, okay? So it's important that I bring this up because at the end of the day, this is what our workforce is going to look like in 10, 15 years, 20 years, is that, it's going to be infested with people that are just young and technology and, high expectations, instant gratification. That's just who we are. So we are millennials, and the thing is, you're going to be working with us. So how can you incorporate us into your environment? And how do you train people that are so technologically advanced or so demanding for attention and things like that? There's so many bad things said about millennials these days. So how do you deal with it? All right. Another one, the boomer versus the millennial. It seems like a versus, a game. But this is true. The patience is different. The attention spans are different. So you do have to handle this a little differently. I thought this was funny. Young people nowadays love luxury. They have had bad manners and contempt for authority. They show disrespect for old people, contradict their parents, talk constantly in front of company, gobble their food, and tyrannize their teachers. This was said by Socrates, and this was 1399 BC that he died. Guys, we all say the same things about the next generation. So let's just identify that quality in ourselves and be open to it. And think about what your parents said to you and their parents said to them, So be open-minded and be considerate of worldly and generational changes and understand that that's just how life goes. And, you just have to go with the flow. So training millennials, we're not that difficult. You just have to be clever. What does that mean? All right. Challenge, lead, evaluate, variation, experience, and reinforcement. So challenge, set SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This is important because even myself, I joke a lot. Sometimes we start things and it's not even going towards, the goal that we want to, accomplish. So it's important for your supervisors and managers and us on this call to set these goals for our staff, so that we're challenging them and they see that we're investing in them. We're actually investing time into setting their goals and helping them figure out what their goals are, or what their opportunities are in the company. Lead, be an example for your team members. Show them the way to success. Lead, I really mean like get in there, show them, be their leader. If they're not doing things the right way, show them the right way to do it and be an example. Evaluate, constructively evaluate your staff in a way that is personalized and beneficial to their growth. So I know I know most companies do evaluations and things like that, but I'm talking about on a daily basis. Constructively, and maybe not on the daily, but whenever it's necessary, constructively evaluate your staff so that they know, don't, complain about them and go back to your office, but tell them, hey, that, maybe you should do things this way or that way, so that they know how to grow the right way, that they're using your expertise to help them progress in their career. All right, variation. So provide variety in work tasks to create diverse skill sets. This may not always be doable, but if you can, try. Provide variety or switch it up, or switch people to do different things so that you can not only build the skill sets, but you can also see the strengths in your staff. They may have strengths that you don't even know about yet. So provide variety in those tasks. Experience. Use projects and excess workloads to provide learning opportunities for developing staff. So that's a good way to use your internships and part-time college workers as well. Get that experience so that they are more confident when they work. And when you have a more confident employee, that's going to be even better because they're going to succeed in other areas. So reinforcement, be the coach for your team. Ensure it is well known that they have your support. There's nothing like working somewhere and feeling like everyone is against you. So let your team know you have their back, and whatever you need, you'll be there to have their back. So reinforcement is really important as well. All right, so summary to keys to extending your workforce. Evaluate if education should be a requirement for available positions and if you can afford it. Or evaluate if experience is a necessary requirement or if it's necessary for training and team development. If your team is a more older team or more established, I think it's good to bring in young talent to secure the progression of your team. You don't want to have everyone retiring at the same time and not have anyone backfill your position. So, it's important to think about the reality of it as well. Be open to worldly and generational changes and accepting millennials, guys. Be clever with young teams. Help coax their growth when you see potential. Challenge them, lead them, evaluate, provide variety, experience, and reinforcement. Okay. Creating an employee-centric environment and getting to know your staff. A relationship is more than finding the right person. It's also about being the right person. Right? How can you be the right employer? You have to get to know your staff, right? So you can't ask for the best employees to come work for you and you're not the best company, right? So how can you be the best company, right? Or even be the best managers or supervisors or directors? How can you do that? You get to know your staff. Okay? 55% of high-performing employees say they are somewhat, quite, or very likely to leave their jobs within 6 months. Why is that? Why would 55% of high-performing employees want to leave their job? Probably because their supervisors or company doesn't know them, right? So what does know mean? Knowledge, needs, opportunities, and willingness. Willingness is my favorite. So what other skill sets does your team member know, right? You may have a customer service rep sitting right in front of you and you may not know that they have IT skills or they have accounting skills or they have claim skills. You wouldn't know. So how do you know that? You have to take the time out to meet with them. Needs. What does your team member need to be happy on this job? You would be surprised. Sometimes it may only be a 50-cent raise, or it could be maybe working from home one day, or maybe it could be working in a different department. What do they need to be happy on the job? And the thing is, you may not be able to provide it, but you may be able to compromise, right? Or even showing that you're interested in knowing may be enough. Opportunities. What is your team member interested in doing if an opportunity arises? So let's go back to that customer service rep. Maybe if a help desk position opened up, maybe they'd be interested in going there. And maybe if they went to that job, they'd work with you on the IT for 20 years. Or they stay in customer service and they leave for an IT job at another company. So what opportunities are they interested in? Willingness. So you may have that customer service rep that has IT skills, but they're not willing to use them, right? They're not willing to do extra work or do work that's outside of the position that they currently have, right? So the big thing about this one is companies or supervisors tend to already know the skill sets that their staff has, and they abuse them or they take advantage of them because they have those skills and they already hired and working for you. But that's the fastest way you can lose someone, is to use their skills without actually paying for them. So what are they willing to do? Or maybe they're willing to show you that they have those skills. They want to show you so that they can get the opportunity to do that. Or maybe you can say, hey, I know what you need to be happy. I know the skills you have, but I'm still willing to lose you. But at least you would know, right? All right. Employee values, Workforce 2020 study. So this is a study that was conducted on employee values. It's actually a really good study. I listed it below. What benefits would increase your loyalty and engagement with the company? I am just going to ignore the higher compensation because everybody wants higher compensation. But better benefits, career development opportunities, and training and education opportunities. To me, when I look at this, better benefits, career development opportunities, and training and education opportunities, better benefits and career development opportunities tell me that people kind of want to stay at their jobs. They don't want to leave their jobs. They just want their jobs to have better benefits and better opportunities. It's hard to find a job. It's grueling out there. It's grueling to go through the interview process. People just want to be appreciated, and people want opportunities to grow. Employees say their companies currently have a formal mentoring program that's capable of retaining, updating, and sharing knowledge, and has a culture of continuous learning. So it's all about knowledge. They want to learn and get opportunities. So consider this. Why would anyone want to work for you? Really think about it. You have to think about your turnover rate, and think about your interviews, and think about your team, and why would anyone want to work for you? Or why do you work for the company that you work for, right? You need to know this so that you can market that, so you can advertise that, so that you can elude that throughout the interview process. Do you pay for training? Do you offer education, medical insurance, promotions, compensation, growth opportunities, flexible work, 401k, free snacks, break, beanbag chairs, work from home? Beanbag chairs is a big thing among millennials, guys, and annual bonuses. So what are you doing that will say, hey, you know what? I want to work for this company, or I love working for this company, So consider that. All right. Just to create an optimal work environment for long-term growth, first, establish a learning or growth path for entry-level positions. And an alternative to this is establish a growth path for team members with high potential. So it's not easy to say, hey, every entry-level position from here, you go here, you go here. It's really not that easy, but it is possible for a lot of positions. For the positions that it's not possible for, think about the team members that are most dedicated to your team, or contribute the most to your team, that you really don't want to lose. How can you create a path for them to stay within your company? Because those are the people that are going to affect other people that come into your company. When you hire new people, these people that have the highest potential, these eager candidates, their spirit is going to go into these other people, believe it or not, versus it's the same thing when you have someone who has a negative attitude. You have someone with a negative attitude, their negative attitude is going to spread. You hire someone with a positive, dedicated attitude, that positive, dedicated attitude is going to stay. So you want to make sure you keep those type of people in your company. All right, consider monthly staff meetings to determine the mood and atmosphere of your team and workspace. This is not saying I have too much work, or such and such did his task late, or anything like that, but more so our workspace is not good enough. Our workspace is not good enough. Our benefits are not good enough. Or the atmosphere is just not good for this team. It's important for you to get that out in the open before it poisons your environment and everyone starts talking. And you want to avoid the drama. You want to show that you actually care about their workspace and you care about the atmosphere. So consult with other managers or supervisors on your team to evaluate current offerings and benefits to staff in relation to other companies. So think about the previous slide. If your company is not bringing enough to the table, consider starting the conversation. So maybe you don't have a lot of the benefits and things like that. Maybe you start that conversation with your higher ups and say, hey, we have a higher turnover rate because we can't keep people because of our benefits, or because of this, or because of that. It's important for you to take control and understand your role in the whole process. All right. Keys to creating an employee-centric environment. Getting to know your staff, the knowledge, their needs, their opportunities, and the willingness that they have to do other things outside of their position. Understanding what your staff values and what your company is willing to offer. Maybe your company is not willing to offer and is willing to lose their employees, or maybe they are willing to offer, but it hasn't been brought into their attention. So self-evaluate. Understand why an applicant would want to work for you and your company. Understanding that, like I said, it shows throughout the interview process. It shows, and people will know that this is a good company to work for if you can understand why it's a good company to work for. And also consider implementing internships or career learning or growth paths, even if it's just for your highest potential staff, even if it's just for the ones that you see, you know what, we need to keep this one on board. So what can we do? Spend extra time and actually get to know your staff. All right, we went through this pretty fast. So keys to attracting the best candidates. One, spice up your job posting, your description by putting some soft skills or personal characteristics. Avoid a long list of requirements. Choose an eager candidate and encourage applicants to share. Keys to extending the life of your workforce. Evaluative education should be a requirement, or if you can afford it, or if experience is necessary for team development. If your team is older, bringing in young talent or interns or part-time college workers may secure the progression of your team if you put them in the right places. Be open to worldly and generational changes, understanding that this is how the world works. And, times are changing, technology is changing, processes are changing. So being open to that and going with the flow of that and not going against it. Being clever when you're training young teams, help coaxing their growth. And this may not even be for just young teams, but challenging, leading, evaluating, for variation, experience, and reinforcement. All right. Keys to an employee-centric environment. Get to know your staff, their knowledge, needs, opportunities, and willingness. Understand what your staff values and what your company is willing to offer. And self-evaluate. Understand why an applicant would want to work for you and your company. Also consider implementing internships or growth paths for higher potential employees. And I really hope you guys enjoyed that. That is the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Alexis.
Thank you.
I've never seen so many acronyms before. They were really clever. I've got a couple of questions that came in. I'll like to repeat. And if anybody else has some questions, again, use the chat box and let me know. The first question was, if you have any thoughts on getting older employees to work with or accept millennials that are kind of coming in as you're building that workforce of the future.
Let me think about that. It's really difficult to change people that already have their minds set about something. So I really wouldn't know how to answer that besides maybe doing group activities or what do we call them? Open focus groups, things like that, to kind of just not open the air, but clear the air, get things out in the open. Fears that people will take their jobs, or I don't know, but I wish I had a better answer to this question. I would start with maybe focus groups and team meetings.
Excellent, thank you. One other question I have is, you mentioned about the evaluations and doing them frequently and providing all of that feedback. Do you have any thoughts on any tools that you would recommend people use, or a frequency or anything like that?
No, absolutely not. I wouldn't even recommend using a tool for that. I would recommend getting to know your staff, being involved with your staff, being involved with them. You can constructively evaluate them that way, to show them that you're there, that you're by their side. But I wouldn't use tool. I mean, maybe there are tools out there, but from my experience, it's better just to be with your employee and actually get involved with what they're doing so that you can constructively evaluate them on the fly. The quarterly and annual and biannual evaluations are really great, but they're too infrequent. You basically go 6 months without knowing if you're doing stuff right or wrong, So to me, I think it's better that you are actually with your team, involved with them to constructively evaluate them on an ad hoc basis.
All right, well, thank you, Alexis. I want to thank everybody that's attended. We certainly appreciate you taking time for this. We're going to be emailing all of the attendees the presentation materials. We welcome any follow-up questions. We're also going to be sending you a link to an evaluation survey. So if you can take a moment to let us know any suggestions for how we can improve our remote resources going forward are very important to us. And thank you. We look forward to talking with you again. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, everyone.